The Internet's Deepest Rabbit Hole by Nexpo. What even is it? Oh, um, after Destiny uncovers an internet enigma, a mystery begins to take root. Unbeknownst to many, it was much deeper than I imagined. Okay. Warning. Really reflects opinion. All right. This guy has like Netflix level thing. It's like he's like his quality is equivalent to the Chris Hansen A24 one that we watched from Nextwell with love.
Saturday. Wildfires are decimating Hawaii. The Barbenheimer phenomenon is in full force. And over in an unassuming corner of cyberspace, someone creates a YouTube channel with an urgent call to action.
This matter is of utmost significance for the survival of every living being on this planet.
It's called the Earth Save Science Collaborative, and it's hosted by a man named Alan Agon Shalakian.
Is that a real dude or is that AI?
Find over 180 videos of this man warning people about global issues like climate change, nanoplastics, and disinformation campaigns. Admittedly, while these are all issues that are plaguing the world, the way Agon is framing them is a bit odd. In every single one of his videos, he sits in front of a camera dressed in a suit, goes on about his various accolades, and spends anywhere from around 30 minutes to 3.5 hours fear-mongering about things like geophysical anomalies inside the Earth's core that, upon doing further research, appear to have little to no basis in scientific fact. According to Agon,
he's just a yapper.
If humanity doesn't unite to solve this global threat, then the end of the world is quite literally just a few years away. On his website, earthsavesciencecollaborative.com, we can find a section that gives us insight into his cause. And at a cursory glance, we can notice a plethora of colorful phrasing formatted in bold for dramatic effect. Agon claims that there are alarming anomalies. There's a chaotic acceleration of the planet's rotation, that humanity only has a few years to avert an impending catastrophe. And upon taking a look at their scientific papers, he makes bizarre claims about an external and unknown cosmic force that's causing all of this. Now, to me, this entire movement comes off as conspiratorial. Agon, in my opinion, consistently instills urgency in the reader, distorts science-backed evidence to fit his narrative, and given that he appears to be someone so ingrained in academia and the government, is feigning credibility while banking on the hope that you won't ever verify his claims.
I think I've seen this before.
But okay. So we found a channel on YouTube with a random old guy that uploads crazy videos about an impending calamity that could happen in as little as years. Why exactly are we giving this guy attention? And what truly is the big deal here?
I like how he breaks the fourth wall finally.
While in any other circumstance, I would have moved on before this video even started. There was one simple thing that kept me here.
Why is the production quality so high?
Online, people have noticed that in certain videos, Agon doesn't move.
I was right. I recognized this because I saw XCC watch this video before. I knew I recognized this before.
And while it's such a simple, silly observation, it's effectively morphed what was supposed to be just a random internet anomaly into one of the strangest and most perplexing internet rabbit holes that I have ever seen.
It is AI. It is literally AI. Or you know what it is literally editing. Like sometimes when you edit, if you do it correctly, you can edit your person sitting there at the entire time, and the editing just does like this part. So he just stays in frame in this part, and everything else is like AI generated.
Government AI generated fake YouTubers are now a thing, and they're super scary.
Yeah, literally in one of the things in my university, we had like, in my master's, we had like this thing where it was like AI created content creators, and we had to do a whole like class activity and research about it, and talk about like how they're AI influencers on like TikTok and stuff. And then there was one thing that I saw recently was like a musician who is AI had like their own concert.
Hi guys. Recently I found a video on YouTube about Destiny doing some research and some weird things, and one thing caught my attention. This dude named Aegon Chalakian is supposed to be a person with a lot of influence in the US government, but he never existed, and everything about him is just odd or weird in some way. He has a YouTube channel in which he only speaks directly to a camera, speaks a bunch of nonsense about geopolitical stuff, and does not move. I'm being serious, this guy sits for 3 hours without moving his hands.
Yeah, that's not possible. Unless he's paralyzed, which you never know because he never said. You can't even verify he's
All
paralyzed.
across the internet, we can
Because in
find him.
paralysis, sometimes they just have the ability to move the head, like the chest
On
down.
LinkedIn, Facebook, research archives, and photographed with countless major public figures in governments and academia. Aegon, according to his Facebook and LinkedIn profiles, carries a highly decorated resume, having studied at numerous prestigious institutions like
Yeah, but you
Harvard,
can just lie.
MIT, and Stanford. And while this looks impressive, he notes that he somehow attended these universities at the exact same time. Now, as we know, anyone can put anything on a LinkedIn profile,
That's what I
and
just
given
said.
that his accolades are so incredibly out there, it's possible that some, if not all of his social media claims are bogus. On top of this, if we perform a search for Aegon Chalakian on the internet, we'll find that hardly any of his actual research comes up. For someone so ingrained, so well networked, you would think that this man's work would be everywhere. But aside from his own profile,
Yeah, like Zhang et al. Like this guy has like a paper in every single field.
paid articles he himself submitted to the press, and videos from his YouTube channel, little, if anything, is out there. It seems that all we have are a myriad of images depicting Aegon with public figures. However, upon looking at them closer, even these seem strangely uncanny.
Holy editing.
He can be seen photographed with former CIA Director Stansfield Turner, but it looks... This one's with a Harvard colleague named Robert Merton, but what's going on here?
It looks like a cardboard cutout.
Okay, but what about this one? This one looks normal. But no. Hold on.
It's the same person. Oh shit. Somebody found the original with a reference photo. Ah, maybe he was there. He was there. It's the exact same pose, yeah. It's literally somebody trying to get like attention, it feels like. Actual attention baiting.
Aegon Chalakian has fabricated a massive network of images depicting endless aspects of his life that never happened.
Is he even a
This
real
is why he's
person though?
garnered such an infamous reputation. The bizarre, nonsensical LinkedIn timeline, the unnatural ability to sit still for over 3 hours at a time while professing absolute nonsense, and the photos. His entire online presence rests in the uncanny valley.
It feels like they took like the head of his body and then everything else is like AI generated. Like this doesn't feel like this is like AI generated his mouth movements.
And given how proficient AI has become at spoofing entire personalities online, this left many across the internet wondering if this could be what's going on here. Is Aegon Chalakian, proficient researcher, world-renowned scientist, and highly decorated alumnus of numerous prestigious universities, even a real person? Or is this one of the most involved examples of the dead internet theory?
Yeah, the internet
that
theory
we've
is
ever
very
seen?
like the internet theory is very relevant. Like it's insane. It's the whole point is like the amount of people over here are mostly now covered in bots rather than actual people, and the people who actually really live real life aren't even on these sites enough that they have enough traffic, so they have to like fabricate the interactions and comments and stuff just to make it seem like they're getting as much as they are. Like the amount, like if you look at the streamers stream and you look at the amount of viewers they have, majority of the people who have it are have like 20K bots or something in their channels.
On
Holy
Aegon's
AI.
channel exists a documentary called The Impact, and
This is
in
in
it, we can
2024.
hear an AI George Washington calling the audience to action against a so-called foreign enemy.
Okay.
It goes on to fearmonger
Alright.
about impending civil war, so-called anti-cult organizations that oppose him, and it puts forth various potential scenarios about the end of the world. It is, for all intents and purposes, complete AI slop, and weirdest of
Yeah.
all, it goes on for 8 entire hours.
Somebody
If you
burnt
click
an
around this
entire
video,
lake.
you will learn
Just for
nothing.
this.
It's just a bunch of random propaganda wrapped up in vernacular that simply goes
Random
on in
hoopla.
circles. Yet, even so, surprisingly, this video has found an audience. Thank you to all that stood up to protect our Constitution and our rights. Yeah, by the way, it's so nice to see actual journalism for a change. You all didn't have the complete story. The rabbit hole goes much deeper. This is 8 hours long, and you're saying we don't have the complete story? What?
Actual bots, yeah.
So I'll just go forth and say it. I refuse to believe that anyone on planet Earth has had the willpower to sit down and attentively watch all 8 hours of this, much less consider it journalism. As we can see, these comments all come from those with randomized usernames, empty YouTube channels, not a single profile picture. It appears that the only ones here are bots, a revelation that does
We've learned that there are actual bots that infest like actual comment sections, like on Twitter and stuff. We are aware
not
of this.
help Aegon's case.
I'm pretty sure there was like this thing where like if you look at the names, it's like first name, last name, or an animal, and then the dash and then letters. So they're all bots that reply because you can see it here. It's easy to spot. Hope LA Y7T, Vespera X7U, name some other thing, number. And first name something, number. First something, number or name. It's always the same, and then there's no profile picture. Like some people's like channels, if you look at mine, for example, if this is how you can tell if they're a real person, right? Sometimes when you go to like a channel, right, and they're like small or they never did, some ignore this because it's like, you know, it's I made it because I'm trying to be presenting as a creator. If you look at some people's channels, right, you can see like they have like a short or like a like something, or like some people have like playlists that are public. Some people even have like fan pages where they have like clipping pages where they clip like their favorite streamers and they post it to fans to see. And then they also have like channels, like for example, if we were to go like here, let me try to find somebody. It would be easy to find. Like, look at this. You go here. Let's go to. I don't know what this is. Not doing that. Let's go here. Okay. Now, Red. Everyone knows who he is. He's like a very big like creator. This one, making content out of thin air, right? Boom. He has videos 5 years ago. Some random person uploaded clips from 8 years ago on their own channel. Look at this. You could tell this is a real person. Some people literally just post on YouTube for fun, like as a archive of things. Then people use it as archives.
This video has
No. Okay, let's do this for example.
been
Chat, this guy's like, I don't agree with this guys.
Let's do random scroll. No, just a name, no nothing. Look. Playlist. Like you can tell if they're real. Like look, if under 18 don't interact. See, like you can tell if it's a real person just by looking. Okay, a random playlist. Like I said, if you go to they either have videos, a random playlist, or description, or a profile picture. Or her name is in like some random like looking like this.
we're going a little bit deeper, okay? In chat, somebody brings up a YouTube video of this guy.
Hello. My name is Egon Chalakian. I am an intelligence
Only
educator.
last year.
I prepare intelligence personnel for clandestine service. The focus of my career has been centered on the intelligence component of national.
As this mystery made its way across the internet thanks to a live stream by Destiny, it led many to scour for traces of him online. It quickly became clear that nearly all media involving Egon Chalakian involved him speaking in front of a camera. His entire image was incredibly manicured, overproduced, and for a while, it seemed like there was nothing out there that could truly humanize him. But right when people were keen on throwing this entire mystery away as just another case of AI-generated nonsense, a random pandemic-era video depicting a Zoom call, of all things, found its way into the spotlight.
His Zoom calls were literally like the bane of existence for everybody.
Hey there again.
How you doing?
Well, how about yourself?
Just peachy. I figured I'd step in early and just hang my hat.
Awesome. Fabulous. We have some people that are just kind of hanging out here. The judges are deliberating. The pitches took a little bit less time than we had planned for since we had.
And so, there we have it. Egon is just peachy. And he's a real person. Turns out that this guy pulled a Stephen McDaniel and somehow sat still for 3.5 hours, which is weird, but okay. So that's all this is then, right? A conspiracy theory YouTube channel run by an old man.
I mean, there was literally somebody who, I'm pretty sure, like, Rob sat there staring at like a wall for like 4 hours or something like that. There was like streamers that did like staring at a wall challenge or watching paint dry shit.
Doctoring photos of himself and over-embellishing his.
I'm pretty sure there was like this thing where like there was like this thing where like if somebody sat for like hours, but I'm guessing they didn't move, which is like a problem. I mean, you can sit, but 3 hours it shouldn't be a problem. But there's like if you sit long enough, you get like you could get like an embolism. So you know, if you're healthy person could probably sit for 3 hours. But if you sat for 3 hours, that would probably like disintegrate your booty cheeks.
Achievements to make him seem more legitimate than he is. Someone who, admittedly, seems pretty nice according to this call, and someone who found himself ensnared in an online conspiracy about his very existence, completely out of nowhere. You know, the reason I do what I do is because of mysteries just like this. Creepy internet anomalies that we can investigate and solve with a logical conclusion. Egon has fabricated an entire online persona, and admittedly, it was an engaging investigation. So thank you guys so much for watching.
Hey yo, what is that?
Something is
Hey
wrong.
yo.
Something is wrong. All throughout Egon's comment section, we'll notice the same commenters spread out across his uploads. And upon taking a look, interesting. What's going on with this?
Representatives of the Creative Society delivered a substantive presentation addressing one of the most pressing issues that has long been the subject of my research and concern for many years.
Weird, but okay. What the hell's the Creative Society? There it is again.
You know what this reminds
Okay,
me of? This
I'm
reminds me
not
of like when you and your friend are doing some like bullshit because you're bored and you guys decide to make something and then one guy gets like super obsessed and then just does some shit like this.
trying to be tinfoil hatty, but there are way too many oddities taking
I
place
remember
with
there's,
this
like-
channel. Every single comment supports Aegon. They seem to heavily lean Russian. They all connect in some way to something called Creative Society. And upon closer inspection, why is Aegon on their website? From what it seems, Aegon Shalakian isn't just a one-man show. It's a group. So who in the world are these people?
Here's a typical morning routine as someone who owns 11 pets.
Okay, I've been making this brown sugar mocha dalgona lately, and Nescafe is helping me.
November 7th, 155 miles per hour winds just wiped out 80% of the city.
It is what all people want. We've been conducting a lot of surveys for several years.
No day without informing about Creative Society.
It is not some saintly cult. The Creative Society is all of humanity. And when I say all, it means all.
This reminds me of like the era where we had like TikToks where like, or like Instagram videos or like YouTube videos where people would do like things where they would be like create like a narrative, they would grow bigger. Like they would do like Poppy, if anyone remembers, like I'm Poppy thing. Or what was her name? Somebody was like did like this thing where they got like kidnapped and it was like fake. Was it? This one? No. There was like a YouTuber that would talk about that was like doing content and stuff, and it was like a big YouTuber, and they would have like this persona where they would like play a persona, and then somebody was like, we think they're getting kidnapped and they're being forced to make these type of videos. And it was just them playing like a narrative to grow their audience because they thought it would be a cool narrative for like creative project. And then they would like release something like that. Yeah, there was like a video of like a guy who did like found footage with creepy pastas and stuff where he would be like in a garage or something. We've had those type of things before. Like we've also had like the piloting thing with like relating to like Epstein before. There's like different online content just to create like a narrative to entertain people, to like create something, because people think like, you throw things in the depth of the void and you'll never see them.
Making its way onto every social media algorithm across the vast ocean of the internet is an idea. An idea that, on the surface, sounds idyllic, the sort of thing you'd hear in, let's say, a dream. The long-awaited arrival of a future we were promised, yet never came, and one that'll radically transform the lives of everyone that chooses to follow it. It goes by the Creative Society, and it's spilling out on a TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, really anywhere with an audience online. Take a look around, and chances are you'll find it. Front and center on their website, we're greeted with oddly familiar dialogue. Today, as the global community faces an increasing threat of natural disasters, the pursuit of security and sustainability has become fundamental for everyone. This situation requires immediate and decisive collective action. Just like the Earth Saves Science Collaborative, we're confronted with a conveyor belt of ideas, videos, and scientific reports that scaremonger about many of the same problems that Aegon told us about earlier. Nanoplastics, catastrophic earthquakes, an increase in turbulence in the Earth's atmosphere. It honestly sounds like a complete rehash of the exact same information. So much so that when I was digging through this, I found myself wondering why they even bothered creating another site at all. Upon heading over to their About page, we're given somewhat of an answer, as the site goes from a retread of familiar information to something completely out of left field. According to the wall of information before us, the Creative Society is more than just a bunch of scientists peddling dramatic theories about climate change. It's an international project uniting volunteers from over 180 countries, aka most of the world, with the goal of transitioning in a legal and peaceful way within the shortest possible time to a new creative format of society worldwide. Further down, They go on to reveal that their aims include eradicating climate change, which they believe is caused not by humans, but cosmic forces, as well as miraculously putting an end to all wars. They guarantee that under
This looks like something they put into like the pre-built like template and then just copy paste it.
this new system, all adults will receive a universal basic income every month and an extra $100,000 upon the birth of their first child. Free healthcare will exist across the world. Travel without restrictions. The eradication of all debts, mortgages, and taxes.
That's
And
just
all
utopia.
of this can be achieved if we simply follow their lead and unite under the Creative Society. Now, this clearly all sounds way too good to be true. Much like how Aegon came off, it feels completely outlandish and conspiratorial. To be honest, it feels like the Creative Society has more in common with something like a religion, or perhaps even.
My neighbor in my house, like, if I'm facing out the guy to my left, he is a cult leader. He has this cult called the Creative Society.
Shut up.
I swear to God.
What did they do?
They're like a doomsday, kind of like they're a doomsday cult, but they're like eco-doomsday. So they think that we're in the end of humanity, and the only way to bring us out of it.
So there's just randomly a convenient guy who's just talking about like this. It doesn't
is
make
like
sense.
through their method of creativity.
It does not make sense. Like it feels
The
so fake.
concept of a new world order.
It feels
a list of
planted.
8 pillars that their values are based around. The weird,
Or it's real and it's just an
Illuminati-looking
actual
logo.
cult. I don't know.
All of this is packaged exactly like a cult. And although it seems obvious in hindsight, if you had merely stumbled upon it when scrolling online, you likely wouldn't even second guess it. This entire organization looks authentic. It pulls you in with its lengthy, seemingly well-researched reports and videos on important topics, led by experts who look legitimate. And it promises of a perfect world where you can be free, if only you spread their message. And somehow, it's actually working. Plastered all over their website are image after image after image, depicting everyday people posing with Creative Society paraphernalia.
I mean, you could
From what it
literally
seems,
Photoshop this.
this group is utilizing their appearance to wiggle their way into various climate expos, US-based business conventions, and even medical offices. This, combined with their immensely aggressive social media presence, in which their videos are spammed on nearly every platform you can think of, gives insight into why so many around the world have found their cause. Like with everything else, they carry the appearance of doing a net good for the world. However, as I sit here writing this, I am honestly more confused than ever because quite literally none of this makes any sense.
I mean, if we were to spam something so much on like social media, on like different apps and stuff, eventually the algorithm is gonna start pushing it out at least a little bit, and somebody somewhere might be sharing it or like posting something to be involved, maybe as a joke, or maybe they might actually believe it. But this is like one of those things where they're like, you know, throw shit at the wall and hope something sticks.
So far, we've seen 2 interconnected climate activist groups that are very clearly peddling more than they've let on. Doing any sort of surface level research into any of them reveals that their claims are extraordinary. They distort science, fabricate their credibility, and even on the Creative Society's website, they go on about a utopian new world order.
Yeah, that
Either none of these
that's
people are
just
doing any research into the organizations they're so outwardly supporting, or they are, and I'm just the crazy one that doesn't see their vision. To me, the entire existence and support of the Creative Society is one massive paradox. People should be writing them off. So what really is going on here? Upon scouring the net for any information about this group, I happened upon an
Okay,
article.
the thing is also that people might be getting paid and might be like an ad, or like people are using like micro influencers to like push an agenda and not reveal it, because there are some people that used to do this thing where they would get like paid like $50 to you post like a 30-second thing saying something nice about the company, and every time you do it, they give you like $50, which is like more than TikTok actually gives now, and like more than you can actually earn on like a video. Like if you get like, let's say you got like 500 video views for a video, and some random company is like, I'll give you $50, post about this, and you do it, and they actually give you the money. People will keep spamming it because it's free money. They don't think people are actually like going to like watch it or think. It's like a reverse scam.
Written in 2022 on BBC.com. Penned by two climate disinformation reporters named Marco Silva and Marilyn Thomas, they dive into, of all things, how the Creative Society is fraudulent.
What?
They explain how several high-profile scientists were, at one point, invited to speak at their online events, mistakenly believing that they'd be educating the public, only to have their words entirely twisted. They claimed that video footage was edited to remove any mention of the human causes of climate change, instead framing them as if they agreed with the Creative Society's outlandish views. Since then, these fraudulent videos have been blasted across their socials, fueling propaganda and continuing to attract more and more of the general populace to their cause. It's clear that this toxic combination of distortion and dissemination is what's quietly elevating them to prominence. But even still, there's a question brimming in the back of my mind. Who exactly is behind all of this? On their website, the Creative Society simply states that there's no one person funding or directing them. It's all just this undulating network of volunteers banding together to change humanity. However, it's when we scour the BBC article when we'll find that that isn't exactly true. Within it, they name drop a man, someone who's been affiliated with the Creative Society and shows up throughout the bulk of their online presence. In fact, it's a man who you've already seen several times throughout this video, hosting their conferences, introducing their YouTube videos, speaking on their network of over 200 channels across thousands of videos. He doesn't exactly hide himself, but he remains just distant and unfamiliar enough to the average person to not arouse suspicion and to coordinate things from behind the scenes.
I mean, that is plausible, yeah.
His name is Igor Mikhailovich Danilov, formerly a chiropractor.
Okay, but these are these real people, or is this like somebody taking the likeness and then using AI to use it? Because that's literally something that could happen.
Now the leader of the Creative
Like they literally did that with Will Smith.
Society, and someone who's also listed as the leading figure in a Ukrainian spiritual movement, which... Hold on. Alatra is known for promoting pseudoscience and wild conspiracy theories involving aliens and secretive powerful elites that sacrifice children. Okay, that is an absolutely insane statement, but that name, we've seen that name before.
Alatra right there.
Right under our nose, a group has been operating. And upon digging into them further and cross-referencing them with the Earth Save Science Collaborative and the Creative Society, it's become clear to me that everything we've covered up to this point was nothing but a front. A funnel to the real core of this rabbit hole.
Or?
Alatra.
Always like some company or something under behind. It's always like somebody underbelly or something. It's never like straightforward.
Hidden within every climate report and embedded in every viral video are endless references to something called Alatra, an organization which, as it turns out, has much deeper and more expansive roots than anything we've seen so far. They're the ones behind the Creative Society project, the ones paying Egon Shalakian to lobby in the US government, the true puppet master behind this sprawling network of interconnected accounts that are quietly taking over the internet. While up to this point, we've seen the prior groups spreading misinformation and outlandish ideas, what Alatra truly believes at their core is so far out there, so off the rails, that I struggle to comprehend how they've ever been taken seriously. According to the videos on their vast network of YouTube channels, they sincerely believe that humans are capable of telepathy and have conducted several experiments using a walk-in pyramid where volunteers transmit symbols with their minds in front of a live audience. They have videos showing members taking photographs of their thoughts, infographics about the soul coming from space, even podcast appearances where they talk about aliens living among us.
Considering the level of their development, the Apexians had already colonized millions.
This reminds me about the copper cage where people would use it as like a massage thing. It was like they built like a dome out of like copper pipes, and it would be like a very expensive thing, and people would like lie in it and think it would do some like spiritual thing where it would get like actual projected.
Millions of planets by that time, and naturally
other
they
universe,
had developed methods of working with humanoids like us, right? So they took the simplest option. They elevated themselves to the rank of God.
Naturally, on their website, they mention none of this, instead describing themselves with the familiar spiel we know all too well by now. Volunteers across 180 countries, nanoplastics, the usual. It's when we take a look at their About page, though, when we're able to spot something strange. Taking up nearly half of this page is a massive section about a supposed defamation campaign enacted upon Elytra by a group called the Russian Association of Centers for Religious Insect Studies, or RACERS for short. Elytra claims that this group sought to tarnish its image by accusing them of believing in ideologies laid out in so-called fiction books that they once published. Furthermore, they go on to claim that they are absolutely not an apocalyptic cult and that all rhetoric supporting this is intentionally trying to discredit them. You know, it's funny they say that because we kind of already had an idea. If the alien beliefs and weird telepathic experiments weren't enough to give it away, then them outright claiming that they're not a cult, guys, they are not a cult, is a bit of a dead giveaway.
Yeah, sure,
but
yeah.
I digress.
Alright.
With this in mind, I did some digging into Elytra itself and stumbled upon—
Isn't that like the 101 how to like spot a cult? Ask them if they're a cult, and they say no, they're not a cult, then they are a cult type shit.
On a trove of information about their early years. I know I sound like a broken record when I say this, but even with everything we've seen them peddle so far, things still get stranger. In their early years, Elytra was born as nothing more than a publishing house, releasing novels penned by an author named Anastasia Novik. These books are highly spiritual and feature a being named Rigdon Japo, who's a sort of prophet for Elytra. Supposedly, he's been reincarnated. He can teleport, read minds, and displays numerous other superhuman abilities. Exactly the kind that they're trying to replicate in the pyramid videos.
Oh, so this is delusional.
In essence, he's their version of Jesus, and some of the books even read like religious texts, containing conversations between
this is just the way you start, like, cult.
Japo and Novik, where he relays the word of their god, a disembodied voice named Alat, to the reader. The most interesting part about Japo, though, has nothing to do with his supernatural behavior, but rather his—
You know, I'm gonna make this connection. It's gonna sound insane, but when you type names, like I'll just type here. When you do names, right, like that, usually the T doesn't have you don't pronounce the T, right? So it just sounds like this. I'm not gonna like relate it to that because it's insane. It's actually insane, but
job.
People use like easily like clicking like sound, like if you hear something that sounds recognizable but you aren't able to recognize it, people perceive it as, oh, what they're saying sounds correct or sounds familiar, maybe it's true. You know, like in the back of your mind you've heard something, or it's like, you know, when you like hear somebody talk about somebody and say their name, and in the back of your mind you're like, I recognize this name but I can't quite point my finger at it. That's what this feels like. Like they're using like people's psychology and like their mental like connection between things without having people understand what they're doing.
In their very first book, dating way back to 2003,
also, they're not a cult, but they have their own books written and published.
Introduced in his earthly form as a martial arts teacher and, well, would you look at that, a chiropractor. His students call him Sensei, but on more than one occasion, he is directly referred to by the name Igor Mikhailovich.
This is a real book, by the way.
While Allatra may have passed these books off as mere works of fiction, the inclusion of Igor Danilov is very real. This man, to this day, is convincing thousands to follow him. He professes the ideas baked into these novels in his troves of YouTube videos and on every Allatra website, and he convinces humans that they're capable of doing things that are physically impossible. At this point, we've transcended the realm of pseudoscience and societal manipulation, because this man, Igor Danilov, is trying to be a prophet. A warped, twisted, and disturbed prophet, leveraging his power behind the scenes to not only control people, but to enact some of the most disgusting acts imaginable.
That's insane.
Девушки находятся в постоянном страхе, и поэтому они очень контролируют, что они говорят, как, и, конечно же, никому ничего нельзя рассказывать.
Добрый вечер. Я очень благодарна, что вы вышли со мной на связь. Я понимаю, что время у нас довольно ограничено, поэтому давайте пройдемся по тем вопросам, которые бы хотелось, ответы на которые хотелось бы общественности показать.
The video you're currently watching is an interview between a Russian journalist named Elena Namlieva and one of Igor Danilov's former so-called heavenly birds. In fear of retaliation, her identity has been concealed. However, the information she provides gives us an eerie look into his other ventures. In this interview, the woman explains that Igor, joined by other cult members, would regularly partake in group intercourse with upwards of 13 women at a time. These women, as far as she knew, ranged anywhere from 20 to 40 years in age, and these acts were supposedly meant to cleanse their spirit. Igor Danilov,
so it is a cult,
being the group's
literally.
prophet, would utilize his power to...
How is it that every time there's like a cult, it just devolves into like orgies? Like every time, like anytime you hear about like cults or something, it always devolves into the reason being because they want...
coerce them into participating, and if they refused, resisted, or told anyone about what was happening behind closed doors, then he would convince them that their soul is all but damned to hell. You're either with us and remain silent, or are against us and are siding with Satan, he would claim. An unthinkable form of psychological manipulation that has kept women silent, obedient, and entangled in Danilov's web for years.
Конечно, это постоянно девушек держит в страхе. То есть, я говорю, это не в открытую происходит, но это постоянно...
The various constantly happening in the background. What? I was getting to ask, are you with us? Or would you go to help him suffer forever? Yo! That's scary. Let's keep it a bug. That's very scary.
As details about Danilov's actions trickled out over the years, investigations into Allatra began to ramp up. In 2023, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church allegedly became so concerned about this group that they labeled them a psycho cult, while simultaneously Russia also declared their act.
Oh, so it's like actually recognized, like it's an actual thing. I thought it was like one of those things that was just like an internet, like foo-foo, where it was just like a hoopla on the internet and people were just doing some bullshit. But this is an actual real thing in real life. And now it's now this is terrible. Now this is actually bad. Wait.
Activities undesirable. Their controversial beliefs, psychological manipulation,
those are real videos,
and worshiping their leader as if he was some kind of messiah were starting to cause concern. And with the member base growing day by day, Allatra was rapidly morphing from the appearance of an innocent climate-focused organization into a legitimate global threat. In August of that year, Ukrainian forces organized a series of raids on the homes of Allatra's key members. They scoured Ukraine from top to bottom and followed every lead they had, no matter how insignificant. More than 20 cells were broken up, yet surprisingly, Danilov was nowhere to be seen. While the case, though, they weren't entirely empty-handed. as what they found instead was so unexpected,
I didn't even know
so
this real
completely
picture's
out
like
of left
it's
field that it turns this entire movement on its head. Inside one of their compounds, Ukrainian authorities uncovered an array
this
of
is real.
weapons, religious texts, and a myriad of blurred red objects. Interesting. Well,
What?
good thing there's a video. So let's see.
So they blurred the picture, but they didn't blur the video. What? This is scary. This is real. These are actual real things and real videos. Some guy probably sat there for 3 hours doing it for real. Trump. MAGA. But why?
All throughout this compound are not only shrines dedicated to Vladimir Putin, but Trump hats everywhere. This is why they're creating account after account, specializing in nearly every country in the world to spread their message. This is why they're paying Egon Shalakian to cozy up to any major governmental figure he can. This is why they've spread to California and have launched a trendy new YouTube channel for a fresh American audience. These people will not stop their efforts until they land someone inside the White House and beyond. And you wouldn't believe it, but they're well on their way there.
I am running for President of the United States of America to give power back to the people and build a creative society worldwide.
It turns out that former football coach and presidential candidate Robbie Wells has been associated with Allatra and the Creative Society since 2019, running for office, circulating the same rhetoric about a universal basic income, using every social media account to deliver pro-Allatra, pro-Putin conspiracies to his followers.
What the frick?
Pastor Mark Burns, the man who just helped erect the golden statue of Trump, also has video after video spanning every one of his socials supporting Allatra's cause. And most insane of all, even the Pope has given Allatra his blessing, something they make absolutely sure to boast about on their website. These activities, these attempts at gaining access to major governments across the world are happening right under our
This is the equivalent of Tom Cruise and what was their name?
nose, and no one, besides a handful of people dedicated to following Aegon's trail, are talking about any of this.
Ahoj přátelé, vítám vás z Afriky. Je to tady naprosto fantastický. Zrovna jsem přišel do vesnice. Hello Klára! Tohle je jedna z mých hlavních pomocnic.
Allow me to introduce you to Jakob Jarl, a journalist, YouTuber, and qualified expert in cults, dedicating his life's work to
Qualified expert in cults.
and a plethora of sophisticated techniques
That's the scariest thing, bro. This is like the scariest
they
thing.
use to manipulate their followers. He's also a humanitarian, having spent numerous years volunteering in Africa, traveling to communities like the town of Moshi, Tanzania, where he helped to provide education
sick.
and support to people in less privileged situations than his own. Or at least, that's what he
Wasn't there
says he
another
does.
like YouTuber that was like talking about like there was like this thing where like a YouTuber used to do these type of humanitarian things and it became like weird. This guy started doing weird stuff. I feel like every time we've seen like somebody do like a humanitarian thing and they talk about like doing philanthropy, it's always somehow ends up bad. Like the rep for them ends up bad. Like Mr. Beast, I remember seeing like recently he was like he made the new Team Water video and people are talking about like ooh, nothing happened with the 40 mil he got from like the content creators, and he didn't give like props to any of them when he was like announcing it and stuff. But then he made like a tweet like about it and stuff.
Scattered across YouTube are numerous near-identical documentaries that provide a much more sinister look into Jakob's supposed activities in Tanzania. Satanist in Africa. From charity to child abuse. The victims told the truth. Why is Jakob Jarl still free?
Yeah, but this
These
just feels like
productions span hours and appear to be entirely legitimate documentaries. They're presented by verifiable hosts who have taken to the streets of Moshi to interview locals who'd like to expose the truth. That Jakob Jarl is a liar.
okay, but how invested do you think they have to be to like actually do this? Because it's not like a simple thing. It takes like months and months and a lot of time and money and effort to do these things. I'm guessing those people who do it aren't like just those aren't just like a random YouTube channels. Those are like people who are like actually doing things outside of it, which is why they spend all the time
A
doing this.
deviant, and that he secretly and covertly conducted an undercover operation to abuse and brainwash children in Africa.
Hell no.
This case is so disturbing, so repulsive, that all over TikTok to this day are hundreds upon hundreds of videos spreading the word about this monster that has seemingly been hiding under the radar for years.
This horrible human being who abused kids in Tanzania. His name is Jakob Jarl. He is from Czech Republic. He came to Tanzania.
Just take a look what this predator, Jakob Jarl, who raped African kids, is saying.
Jakob Jarl raised thousands of euros, claiming it was to help children in Tanzania, and then he used this money to brutally abuse them.
But what's the like proof though?
This account, Ollie Climate Girl, is one of hundreds spreading the Jakob Jarl story. Which is fine, it's good to get the word out. The part that isn't fine, though, is that this very account has already shown up in this video.
Alright. So I was thinking, I was like, unless they're that, they could literally just doing like a hate campaign, like a smear campaign, just to make this guy look bad.
Jakob Jarl never
Because
did any.
Because they're under 1,000. This is like the thing that people say. Like if it's under like 1,000 views or like 1,000 likes or like 100,000, like 10,000 views on like TikTok, it doesn't compute as true. It's just like somebody can post anything. Like what's the verifiable fact of these things?
The documentaries, completely fabricated. The endless support of them, entirely manufactured. Every bit of information we've learned about Jakob up to this point has been nothing but what Alatra wants us to know about him. Because just a few years ago, Jakob did something to absolutely enrage them. In 2023, Jakob Jarl was one of a number of Czech journalists working to expose Alatra's activities. Turns out that he was instrumental in locating one of Igor Danilov's hideouts. And because of his meddling, he's now facing a coordinated smear campaign, essentially painting him as the devil. Unfortunately, it's difficult to parse who exactly is connected to Alatra and who isn't when it comes to their comment sections. They've amassed hundreds of them across their various uploads, and the overall sentiment ranges from unapologetic support to cautious skepticism. From what it seems, this massive psyop they're pushing is working in some capacity, as it's even caused the Czech government themselves to step in and investigate Jakob for these claims. It took years before he was exonerated, and while today he's thankful for it, the mental toll it took on him, combined with the internet's collective outrage about him doing things he never would have even imagined doing, all of it had unfortunately put him in an extremely dark place.
Hello, this is Pastor Mark Burns, spiritual advisor to President Donald Trump, and I want to tell you, I'm here in the Tanzania embassy right now. Just had a wonderful, productive meeting. Yakov is not going to get away with the evil and the atrocities that has been done to these children. So let's continue to pray, let's continue to fight, and let's continue to tell the world that justice is coming. Jacob, you won't get away with this.
To this day, if you look up Jakob Jarl on any search engine or social media platform, you'll find video after video painting him out to be a monster. It is an absolute travesty, and that's
5 views, 6 views, 18 views, 220. This is probably his own. 5.1, 37, 354. What the frick? None of these accounts are real accounts. Most of these are probably like somebody just made a new account and posted. Because if you post a new accounts, this is like your average. Like the 220, 400 is like the average like views of like TikTok. And YouTube is also like, look at this, 5 views. If you like make a new account that is like a video, not a short, you get these numbers. This is all like not like verifiable.
exactly how Alatra once said.
That's why people are like, if it has under like, if it has close to like 2,000 views, people are like, okay, that's not real. Like people don't trust like people with like small views because it doesn't make sense why it has so less
It's
views.
interesting. I don't know if you know, but this summer holidays, Alatra is again visiting Tanzania. They're going there with like 20 volunteers for 2 weeks. And you know why they do it? Because the children we were helping, they discovered all their orphanages. And now they're getting into the orphanages. Of course, when they give those people money, you know, of course they will take it and they will be happy. So now they're going there and visiting those children we cared for years. And they're visiting them, and they will try turning them into this Alatra member in the future. You know, they have like this whole campaign, and that's the real torture thing, right. You know, because they can't hurt me with lies when I know it's a lie, you know, but they can hurt me with those children we helped them medically, we put them in school, and now they go there, you know, now they made all those people crazy, you know, they're spreading those things, so I can't visit Tanzania anymore. So I can never visit them again, the children, nor any of the volunteers. We like traveled there with a bunch of people for years. We cared for all of them. No one can visit them anymore, and all of those children are getting indoctrinated into Alatra code now.
Now that you're saying that, I had never considered that as one of the negative effects that Alatra has had on people. That I will say is probably one of the most grim out of everything, and I never knew that, so thank you for bringing that up, because I want more people to know about this.
Yeah, so that's like the real thing that's hurting me. That's the only thing I can't like be laughing about. But the other things that okay, so they will kill me somewhere, you know, that's like something I can laugh about, because I don't care so much anymore when I know that it's much more important to fight against them. But
that's just sad, man. Like, it's gotten so bad that he's not worried about himself dying. Like he's like just taking it as like a joke. Like that's how bad it's gotten. It's kind of sad. Like he's gotten like that many threats. It's like when like a streamer or creator and you get so many death threats and you've been swatted so many times. It like, that's why they're like, the mental toll it takes to be a creator is insane. Like this is one of the things, like the work he does is the equivalent of like a commentary like streamer or YouTuber. Like for example, Moist Critical, like I know he does like a lot of different like commentary and different things that people do, and I'm sure he gets like backlash a lot of the times for the things he says to different people. And like there was this thing where they were like, he didn't talk about the topic and his response was he doesn't know. Then people were still saying that he should have said something about it. Like it just is like a toll that takes on people, but it's something most we need. Even though it's like horrendous, it's something we actually need.
Something that hurts me, and I also feel guilty because
if they don't do it, who will? Like you can't expect somebody else to do it when you have the ability to do it, you know?
I would not visit those children and would not investigate cults, they would not be indoctrinated by this crazy cult that's now targeting them.
That's insane.
At the end of all of this, I'm simply left feeling shocked. Shocked at the fact that something so random, so minuscule, a simple live stream by Destiny and a Reddit post to accompany it could morph into something so far from where we started. This entire time, Aegon Shalakian has been nothing but a cog in a much greater machine. A fraud in so many aspects of his life. Alatra to this day is operating around the world and is doing everything they can to entangle themselves in world governments to further their cause. Like with Robbie Wells and Mark Burns, their strategies have been undeniably effective. However, I believe that shining a spotlight on groups like this can truly help prevent them from weaseling their way into where they don't belong. What they've unleashed upon Jakob Jarl and the handful of other journalists that have exposed them is cruel and inhumane, and it reveals to me just how effective the internet can be at swaying public opinion. If you had never watched this video and had randomly stumbled upon Jakob's story, I wouldn't fault you for believing everything that Alatra has been peddling. I wouldn't fault you for believing their climate disaster reports, considering the changes our planet's seen in the past few decades. And I wouldn't fault you for giving these people credibility, given the seemingly endless images and videos depicting them with powerful figures. While Igor Danilov to this day remains at large, his group continues to operate in capacities that I still don't fully understand. Who knows how many women are still under his grasp, worshipping him as something he isn't, coerced into satisfying him whenever he demands it, and being tormented into an agonizing silence. I can only hope that someday they wake up and realize how fraudulent everything about Alatra truly is.
As discriminating on the president, there are certain Utahns have undergone mass stations for unknown reasons. They probably because sometimes when they do these things, it's like an investigation through like they said, there's like the police are doing an investigation. It's probably just to scrub everything, cover their bases. They're hiding out in numerous areas. So they are taking action. So there is action being taken, which is good to see at least. Which audiences have contacted colleagues? Ah. Yeah, I mean, when you say all but two, because it can be like there's a possibility, because you never know. Because sometimes when you do like a public lecture, there's like infinite number of people you meet, you never remember everyone in their faces. And this is one of them. Like, you could literally be walking next to them. Huge. Wait, there's more?
They used a different strategy. You know, in the past they used young women who were lured into the cult. Now they use young women who are daughters of couples who are already members. So it's more like a prestige thing that the couples, the parents, are like offering their young daughter to Igor, you know, to be a heavenly bird. They transformed it, and thus they can be sure that the parents will not start an anti-cult or anti-Alatra like
the generational stuck.
So that's one of the main things what they changed. Also, I think now they could not bear a heavenly bird to run away. So I think, like, honestly, that if a woman would want to run away, they would just bury her in the lake, you know. Like the lake where they are is like famous for being like, they find every half year they find someone who was killed and buried in that lake, you know. It's like very famous. So it's not like a difficult way, you know, and place to do that. But I'm sure they're manipulating them heavily, and they have much more of them now. They have 24 of those women now, you know. And I don't know if you remember the stories behind those.
That's crazy. is just like, it is insane. Like the amount of times you'd see like these things and you wouldn't know these are happening if these commentary big channels didn't make them. Like I know I keep saying this, but if it wasn't for like a commentary channel about this, I would never know this existed. Right? Like there's certain things that happen in a world and are not covered by the news anymore. It's mostly like a daily activity rather than like what's happening in like other places, and journalists sometimes they don't get coverage. The highest coverage can sometimes be just like a random YouTuber that made a YouTube video. And this is like one of the like channels that actually cover like these things that are like important to know and they're happening. Otherwise you would never know. Like you and I would never know, especially these like how big this is with what's happening, and we still don't know that this exists. Like there are so many sides of the internet where things happen and you never know, which is like the scariest thing.